Hey guys, my name's Crystal Kenny, and I'm in love with creating. All things artistic and imagination involved. I'm an American girl who chased her creative dreams all the way to Paris, France, making a living using photography. This podcast takes you inside the stories of all the artsy folks I've met along the way and gives you that extra push to discover your creative gifts. The desire to create is deeply inside each and every one of us, and I give you the tools and inspiration to find a new way of living a more creative life. This is La Vie Creative, the podcast. Welcome to the show, Michelle.
Hello, Crystal. Thanks for having me.
It was so lovely to meet you the other night at the Inspirel event, and we were talking a little bit about self-publishing and books, and I'm so excited to share your story today.
Thank you. I was very happy to be at that event and to also meet another self-published author because there's not that many of us here in Paris.
Yeah, I feel like being like self-published was kind of frowned upon before, and now it's like very normalized. Like a lot of people self-publish their books, and we just want to get them out there and share our words with the world.
Exactly. Yeah, I think both ways of publishing are perfectly fine. Depends what. Like for me, like I just wanted to get my words out there.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I need to sell thousands of copies. And I just wanted it out there. I wanted a product of my own. I wanted my words in my hands.
And you can still sell thousands of copies online.
That's true.
That's true.
That's true.
We can definitely get more into that later, but I want to go back to the beginning of where you're from and what brought you to Paris. You just moved here in 2012. So
No, 2022.
22.
I moved here in December, about 5 months ago.
Oh my goodness, you're such a newbie. You skipped the whole pandemic. That's amazing.
I did.
It's a very smart move. And then talk about where you're from and what made you do the big move.
Well, I'm from Los Angeles, and in my 20s, I moved to New York.
Nice.
And lived there for about 6 years, and then moved back to Los Angeles to pursue creative endeavors. And I think since I was in my mid-20s, I'd been coming to Paris every year, like for a week, a few days. Like it was always a stop on my way to somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I was really thinking about moving here because I just needed a change. And I didn't want to move back to New York. And I wanted to be somewhere that I can walk around and, like a, commuter city, right?
Yeah.
And I hated driving. And so at the end of 2021, I spent 3 months living in Paris to see if this is what I wanted to do.
That was smart. Because a lot of people jump right in, and that's quite dangerous because then they're like, I hate it.
It's really dangerous, but that enabled me to build a community. So when I did get my visa and move here in December, I wasn't alone.
Yeah.
I had friends, I had a community, I had people around me. And so that was really important because I left my family and I left everything I knew in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So I've been here since December and it's amazing.
Dream come true. And I think that's so great what you did too, is you built that community super fast, because I know when I moved here, that was like priority number one. Like even before learning the language, I was like, I need people in my life because otherwise you're just so lonely and it can just make you want to leave faster.
Oh no, it's definitely true. It's definitely true. And so I remember moving to New York, I knew 2 people.
Yeah.
And that was it was hard for the first maybe few months.
Yeah.
But then, New York is you speak the language, so it's easier to like meet people and get involved in things. But again, in Paris, I don't think it's that hard either because there's so many social media sites that bring people together. Like Inspirel is one of them, these groups and, Facebook and meetup groups and stuff. So, and there's a lot of people that speak English, so it's great.
Those Facebook groups are pretty funny sometimes, the expat ones. I'm always kind of like, do any of you have Google? Like some of the questions they ask on there. I'm like, really?
I know. But I feel like, it's probably people like, I remember when I moved to New York at 26, it was like right when Craigslist was starting. And so I did everything on Craigslist.
Yeah.
I found my roommates, I found jobs. And so I get it. Like people don't know where to look because they've never been in that situation.
Mhm.
So, um,
You're
so
like,
yeah, it is kind of cute when they ask certain things. I'm just like, you know,
I get a kick out of it. I mean, I love it, but
yeah.
I get it. It's hard. And I think Paris is, I mean, coming from you, would you say Paris is one of the harder cities to immigrate to? I mean, you've lived in London. I mean, you lived in LA, you lived in New York, now you're in Paris. I mean, these are dream cities for a lot of people.
It is, it's not as hard being at like my age. I think it could have been harder if I was younger. Because I do have a job, I have work, so I'm not kind of like struggling in that sense. And I did spend 3 months here, so I did get the lay of the land, and I spoke to people about the visa processes and how to set this up and that up, and really got the lay of the land before I actually moved here.
Yeah.
So it hasn't been that hard for me. And though my French is like an A2 B1 level, I understand it better than I can speak it. I think that's the same for a lot of people that move here, or that are learning French. So I speak Spanish fluently, and so I've lived in a bilingual household my entire life.
Oh,
So
that's great.
it's easy for me to like be around people that speak other languages.
Yeah, yeah. You've always
Yeah.
and that's so good that you came here with that level. That's wonderful. That's such a great way to start. And like before you moved here, you were working in Hollywood and had a background with working with performers and producers. Talk a little bit about that. That's fascinating.
Well, I worked in Hollywood, and like I said, I worked with, or like you said, I worked with performers and producers and writers, and I worked as a support assistant. So kind of in between of like a personal assistant and an executive assistant. I was just like their right hand person, and so I basically was on set. I was taking care of their home businesses or their like home staff. I was just kind of organizing their lives so that all they needed to do was just perform. And there was, I did have clients where I have an acting background as well, and so like I did have clients where I would run lines with them or rewrite scripts with them. So I just kind of was just like a helper in a way.
Yeah. Sounds like a lot more than a helper because like we all like one of you. Like we could get this done if we had someone helping like you did for them.
Yeah, no, it just kind of evolved, like, because I just needed a job.
Yeah.
And I love being around creative people, and I love helping creative people, and I love like bouncing ideas off with them and really flourishing their projects and seeing like how far we can take it.
Mhm.
And so that's kind of one of the services I offer for my business here in France, is doing the same thing with creatives.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love it. I love like jumping around from one project to another, and um, finding how I can help a person just really logistically bring their idea to fruition, because they're like the major creatives. I mean, I'm creative too, but like I'm not a musician. I'm not like a full-time actor or writer. I'm not a full-time
Yeah.
like movie maker or whatever. But I think um, I have like the expertise in and out
Mhm.
of the industry
Yeah.
to help other people.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like a lot of us creatives, we need that organization. We need someone to like, okay, or this is the basic administration part, like the boring stuff. Cause they're like, we just want to make our work. We don't want to do all these other steps. And they need someone to like put that in order for them. And that's where you come in.
Exactly. Yeah. And it is, because I mean, you don't want to spend a few hours like setting up all the like minutia things that you have to set up before you can actually create something, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We
So
just
like,
jump in and do the fun stuff.
right, pass it on to somebody else, have them do it, and then you get into the creative, like, and just that's all you need to do
I
is
love
only focus on your art.
Yeah, we need to like duplicate you and just hand you off to all the artists. So we can use those skills. But
Yeah, right.
writing has always been your first passion, and you recently just published your first book, Live This Feeling. It's a book of poetry. Tell us more about the book.
Oh gosh, well, it's a labor of love. It's a collection of poems that I wrote in my 20s when I first started performing poetry. I was out at different venues in Los Angeles. I hosted my own open mic nights. And in New York, I did the same thing. And when I was in Paris, I always jumped over to Au Chat Noir or wherever I can read my poetry out loud, because I love performing poetry. I think poetry just should be shared with everybody, like just share it out loud. And so during the pandemic, I think the first year of the pandemic, I took a class on self-publishing a book. And it kind of took you through the beginning of what kind of book you want to publish and blah, blah, blah. And I knew I wanted to put together these poems that I wrote in my 20s, 20s to maybe early 30s. Because they were just all on napkins. They were all on these lined sheets of paper, stuck in journals in a drawer. And I'm like, they're not going to do anything in that drawer. They need to come out. They need to see the light of day,
Yeah.
And so that was really interesting, because I relived a lot of this time in my life that I had either forgot about or didn't really reflect on too much. And a lot of my poetry comes from real life. I call my poems memoir poems, because they do. And I'll send you one of my books, but the back of my book, I put a location list where each poem takes place.
Oh, wow.
And I also put a soundtrack for it of songs of the time when I was writing these poems, just to kind of get the feel of so that the reader can get the feel of what I was kind of feeling at the time.
Yeah, I love that.
And so I put these poems together, and the 3 months that I was in Paris, I finished it.
Nice.
And so, and then I self-published it and I released it, and now it's out in the world, and I love it. It's really great to have a book of all these, words that I wrote when I was, 20 years ago or whatever.
Yeah. And talk about how you chose which pieces to share. I mean, obviously you had a lot from 20 years. How did you choose?
I really wanted to go with this theme. I knew that I wanted to call it Live This Feeling. Mm-hmm. Actually, it was going to be called something else. What was it going to be called? Oh, it was going to be called Perfect Nectar, because it was going to be a completely different book.
Yeah.
And once I started putting the poems together, I wanted to make this through line, what connects all these. And it's all this intense feeling of love loss, of love that's been forgotten, of true love, of borrowed love. And so that's how I chose it. I had to cut out some poems I really wanted to be in there, because they just didn't fit the mood of the book.
And so talk a little bit about your writing process too. Would you write these in cafes and bars? Would you write them in a quiet space? It sounds like you can work in loud spaces.
Yes. I used to drink a lot. I'm sober now. But I would write in bars, and that was just kind of my way. I'd write at a bar, and then, meet my friends or whatever. And I'd like I said, I had all these napkin poems.
Yeah.
But they were always just something I've been, or if I'd go see a movie with a friend, I'd write, something after that, when we'd go to a bar after a movie or whatever. And now, or at the time, that was kind of my method. I was always writing out, out. Never really cafe. I never really hung out in too many cafes, but aside from coffee shops that had open mics going on, but it was mainly in bars. And now I kind of just write anywhere. I always have my notebook with me, and I have my notes app.
Yeah.
So
it's whenever things come to you, they say you should always carry a pen and paper around with you. And
exactly.
Because I was read something the other day I found really fascinating, where it was I'm not going to say it wrong, but it was something about ideas are not forever lasting. You have to jump on them. You have to use them when they come. And I think we take that for granted a lot.
Oh, for sure. I mean, there's that, there's a similar kind of adage where it's oh, don't wait and think that you'll remember what you thought about right now, because you'll totally forget about it. So,
Yeah.
I've got notebooks all over. I've got them, in the living room. I've got them by the bed. I've got them in the kitchen. Like there's always notes and pens everywhere, just in case I have like an idea of something or a word pops into my mind or a memory pops into my mind.
That's so smart.
So,
I think we all need memory notebooks all over the house and
yeah.
everywhere we go. And were you nervous that once you stopped drinking that the writing wouldn't work, or did the writing change? Like, how did your work evolve from there?
It's so funny because I did stop writing and I didn't write for a couple years.
Yeah.
It was really tough because it was something that I equated together, and I didn't really start writing again until I started doing the artist way.
Mm-hmm.
And that forced me into a routine, and morning pages really helped. And once I was doing morning pages and I wrote this poem and I was like, holy shit,
Yeah.
I like totally wrote a poem, and I hadn't written anything in like a year,
Yeah.
and
So you were like nervous. You're like, maybe I can't do this anymore without the, the extra alcohol.
yeah, because drinking brings drama, and drama brings feeling, and feeling brings words, and words bring poems, so that was kind of how it was. And I love the romanticism. Like my inspirations when I was in my 20s and 30s were like, men and women who drank and who smoked, and these like romanticized versions of people who are like pretty much now like really toxic, right? Like the older you get, but at that time I'm like, oh my God, I want to be like Hemingway, I want to be like Kerouac, I want to be like, so
You're like, actually, they have
like,
issues.
total issues. But at the time, like my, guys I dated were like musicians or just, these bad boys. And it's like, it was so cool and hot. And like now I'm like, oh, it's like the last thing that I want in my life.
You're like exhausting.
It's so exhausting. I mean, sometimes you're like, oh, that would be so fun. I mean, you can get to that feeling. Like that's what's so good about memory and writing things down, is that you can get back into that feeling of what you were like, or that like that sensory, so that you can relive that and write in that format.
Yeah.
But you don't have to live that way anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. You can draw from experiences in the past. And I think we talked about this before. Like once you start going down that road and thinking about those things, so many memories and feelings come back.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of cool to have those memories. Like it's cool and it's hard sometimes,
Yeah. Yeah. You
like,
think it's fun. You're like, I totally forgot about that. And then it's like, oh, it's all here. It never went away.
Never went away.
Never went away.
No.
Talk a little bit about poetry. I mean, how do you define poetry? What is poetry to you?
Oh gosh. For me, I feel like poetry was always associated with rhythm. I was introduced to poetry from music and from going to open mics.
Yeah.
And so I would listen to Patti Smith, and Ani DeFranco was like one of my main inspirations when I was younger. And like Bob Dylan, like people who loved words and putting like this art of putting words together. And so for me, like that rhythm in poetry is so important. I don't like, I'm not very inspired by, I guess, like the Walt Whitman, that kind of stuff. Like I have to read poetry out loud. And when I was in high school, I used to go to this coffee shop in Pasadena, which is the area I grew up in. It was called the E-Bar. And my dad hated that I went there because like we would all smoke cloves and, we were out till 2 a.m. But they always had jazz nights and open mic nights and poetry nights. And it was just like, I thought it was the coolest thing in the whole entire world.
Yeah, yeah. Especially going to like Pasadena, which can be a little more like upper crusty, and you're like, we just want to smoke and talk about art.
Exactly. It's totally, yeah, exactly. And so, And so there was also this place in Los Feliz, which is the town that I moved to, that I last lived in LA. And there was a coffee shop called the Onyx. And there was always this, I don't know if you remember The Cosby Show. There's an actor, Malcolm Jamal Warner. He's a poet, and he would host these open mic nights and these poetry nights there. And I would like walk by and just be like listening from the back, like, oh my God, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my entire life. You know, these people just going up there and just either slamming or reading these just epic, beautiful poems. And I was just, oh my God, I want to do this. I want to be on stage and I want to like speak words.
Yeah. It's
You
like,
know,
it's combining the theater aspect with the words, it sounds like.
yeah. Yeah.
And there's a lot of feeling and talk a little bit about the poetry community here. I mean, you've made this group, this community here. Talk about it. How's it going?
Well, you know, I go to every Monday there's this open mic called Spoken Word Paris. And they used to be at a bar called Au Chat Noir in like the 11th and 10th kind of areas. And now they're in the La Marque Coulancourt area at Le Cave Cave. And so Mondays I go there and I read poems or I listen to people. And I just think that a lot of people are younger and there's some people that are older. And I love that it's just this mixture of people. And I love the creativity and I love the feeling that people are putting in. There's this one girl who like always wears like little elf ears or costumey type stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, you're amazing. I love that her expression is just so out there.
Yeah.
And like, that's not something that I grew up like being able to do.
Yeah.
So to see that in other people, I'm just like, oh, I love this. I love everything that people are doing.
Yeah. It's so inspiring because it's just people being themselves and not caring what other people think.
Yeah.
And like being vulnerable. And how were you able to get past your fear? Were you nervous to go on stage? Were you nervous to be vulnerable in your words? Like, how did you get past that?
I am nervous every time I go on stage. I have this like rock in my stomach. And before, when I drank, I would just take a shot of whiskey and I'd be fine. You know, like that burn goes down to your stomach and it just like chills you out. And now I'm like, like, what do I do? And so what I find myself doing, I realize, is I start swaying and like, I don't want to, or I hold the mic really tight.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of my way of, you know, and I close my eyes when I perform. And so I've noticed that like I get off stage and like my hands are really sweaty.
Yeah.
Or like after like the, you know, halfway through the poem, or like if I'm going to read a second or third poem, like I'm a little bit easier, but I do use that mic and I hold it real tight.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my way to get over that. But yeah, and I like run off the stage really quick. Like I haven't been able to like subtly and like really ladylike just get off the stage. I'm just like, okay, bye.
Yeah, but there's something that really, I feel, it makes you feel alive. Like you're totally in the moment, in those nerves, in your work, you know, and without the alcohol numbing all those feelings, it's like you're more alive in that moment.
Yeah. And I think it's harder. I mean, it's, you know, everyone's got a vice of some sorts, and taking away like that vice is pretty hard, especially like I used to perform so much more. And then when I stopped drinking, it was really hard for me to get back into it.
Yeah.
But I did, thankfully. It's like just something that you have to like relearn and
get used to.
Get used to.
I was reading Stephen King's memoir when I was getting ready to write my own memoir, and he talks a lot about how he was drinking and doing coke and doing all this stuff. And then once he got clean, he's like, I didn't know if I could write anymore. I didn't know if people would like my work anymore. And it is scary because a lot of writers are on drugs and alcohol. And it's like, can I still do this like without it?
Yeah, I know. Right. Like, and people do. I mean, and you see musicians and, you know, people who are sober now who are making music just as good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a matter of getting past your ego and getting past your fears, and that stuff was always there. It's just you were, you know, suppressing the fear around it by the other stuff, and it's pretty exciting to be able to do it without it now. That's amazing. You should be really proud of yourself for the book.
Oh yeah, no, I am. It's definitely something like I was really proud of it, but then I got real shy when other people were proud of me, because
Mm.
because poetry is so personal.
Yeah.
And so when other people are like, "Oh my God, this poem, this like I totally understood what you meant by this, and I've had that same experience," and I was like, really?" Because I was like the only one that had that experience in my whole entire life, and I was always so like ashamed to like share this with friends, like my
Yeah.
poetry with friends, because like I didn't want people to know how I felt about things. And so when the book came out, I was so far removed from these feelings that when my like friends were reading it, they're like, "Oh my God, I totally remember, like I know who that's about. I totally remember that. I totally remember that's time," or I've totally, people that I don't really know too well, like you bought my book and like emailed me on Instagram and was like, "I, read your book and I totally felt the same way. I've had these experiences." And that was really powerful for me
Hmm.
because I think for the first time in my life, like I I felt like a kinship with other people
Yeah.
who experience like these losses and griefs and, and true loves or whatever. Because everything ends, so it's like it's about ending, like these.
It's endings and new beginnings.
Yeah, yeah.
That's really
So
cool, and it's nice that through writing we connect. I mean, that's what it's all about, right? It's all about
exactly.
connecting and shared experiences and making feel like they're not so alone, and also getting it out there, like you're kind of releasing it, and just letting it go.
It totally is like that because now I read my poems. I'm like, oh God, these are gross. Like, I
Yeah.
can't believe. Do you feel that way when you read your book?
Oh yeah, I look back and I'm like, you're an idiot.
Totally. Like, why did you write this? It's so stupid.
Yeah, I kind of look back and I just want to take that girl and be like, girl, just sit down, like have some water, chill out. You have to do that sloppy mess to evolve. I mean, that's how it works, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's definitely cool. And it's just definitely cool to look back on because I think, there are people who are younger than us and who are kind of doing the same things that we were doing at that time. And the more I meet, especially in Paris, I meet so many people like that are younger than me. And it's amazing to like see these people just experiencing the same things I experienced when I was that age.
And you
Like we
can't really,
all live
yeah, you
very
can't tell them
similarly.
anything different either. They just got to do it. They got to go through it, and then
Yeah.
they'll know.
Yeah, but you have to experience it. You have to live through it.
Yeah,
So like that's why the book is called Live This Feeling. And there's a poem in there that, is basically I'm trying to leave this situation and like all these bad things are happening and I'm not leaving because I want to live this feeling. I want to see where this comes like I want to see how this feels
yeah, I love
being
that.
in this rut.
It's a great title, living this feeling. It's such a good title. And how do you
Thank you.
define creativity in your own words?
Oh gosh. Let's see. How do I do? I think um it's a hard question. I feel like creativity to me is just the art of doing something in your own way.
Hmm.
I think there could be creativity in the way you put your, here's the organizer and me coming out, like putting your dishes and your glasses away in your cupboard.
Hmm.
I think that's creativity in everything. Um, and so I think it's just a very personal definition, right? For me, I don't really know how to define that. I am inspired more by aesthetic and and texture.
Hmm.
So when I'm doing something, if something looks pleasing or maybe feels pleasing, like whenever I'm shopping, I'm always touching things,
Hmm.
you know. So yeah, so that's kind of a shitty like definition of
Not at
creativity,
all.
but
I think
I don't really don't know how to define it. But I like for me, it's like I like everything I do is like I like things positioned in a certain way
Mhm.
to have an aesthetic like viewpoint, so people can be like, oh, that's, or, I mean, not even people, just me, like, oh, here's this really nice vignette.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, there is no right answer. Like creativity, I think, means something different to so many people. And that's why I'm interested in the question, really, because
it's a good question.
You think, because some people are like, it has to be a painter, an artist, or it has to, you can be, it's just like creating something out of nothing. But I've gotten all kinds of answers, and I find it fascinating, because everyone is a creative, whether you know it or not. We talk about that all the time on the show. And I'm just curious how people define it. And where can people pick up your book, Live This Feeling, and connect with you and learn more about your work and what you offer?
Well, my book is available on my website, which is michellebonfils.com. It's also available on Amazon.com and Amazon.fr. It is also, if you go into a bookshop, you can ask the proprietor to order it for you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're in Paris, I have a couple copies with me, so you can, reach out to me and say I want to buy your book, and I'll hand deliver it.
Fine.
But or I have an ebook if you want to read it on your tablet or whatever. I have that on my website. It's an instant download. But yeah, if you're like outside of France and the US, like you can go on Amazon to find it, or Barnes and Noble, bookshop.org.
Very
so
cool.
Just anywhere, really.
Yeah.
Anywhere books are sold.
Perfect. Well, we'll definitely share all that information in the show notes so people can check it out. And you also help artists get organized, and you help with self-publishing. So we'll have all that information. If you guys are interested in publishing your own book, you can work with Michelle. And thank you so much for chatting with me today.
Thank you for having me. This has been really lovely.
Thanks so much for tuning in to La Vie Creative. You can find more information on MissParisPhoto.com. And if you enjoyed this show, please feel free to share and spread the word for all my creative guests. We have the power to help them to keep doing what they love. See you next time.